Hey, what is going on, guys? Xpertfusion here, and in this video I'm going to be doing the Season 6 Episode 14 review, which is titled Twice as Far. So this episode, very surprising episode. I did not see that coming, where Denise was going to be the one to die by Abraham's death, like how he died in the comics. It was a very surprising death. I thought it was going to be Tara. Then I started thinking maybe it'll be Carol, maybe even Rosita or something like that. But it was Denise, man. It was Denise. It was very, very surprising to me. And it wasn't a major character. I mean, she just was introduced this season. And I feel like they always have that every season. There's always a character that's introduced in the beginning of the season and ends up dying at the end of the season. And they've had that the past few seasons, and they always end up dying episode 14. It's kind of weird. Season 4, we had Lizzie and Mika were new in season 4, and they died by the end of season 4 and affected one of the Atlanta group, one of the main characters from Atlanta, because that affected Carol very heavily. Season 5, Noah died in episode 14, and he was just introduced in season 5. That affected Glenn, which is also one of the Atlanta characters. And last but not least, season 6, they just introduced Denise, and she died episode 14, and that affected Daryl, who was also one of the Atlanta characters, which is very odd to me. And I mean, I thought it was very interesting. I mean, even if you go back to season 3, Milton was introduced beginning of season 3. He died. It didn't die episode 14. He died episode 16. And I guess you could say that affected Andrea, which Andrea, she died either way, and she was one of the Atlanta characters. I wouldn't really count that necessarily, but it's kind of a weird pattern how they add a character in the beginning of a season and then they end up dying at the end of the season, and that affects one of the characters from the Atlanta group in season 1 very heavily, which is kind of odd, and I kind of like that very much. I think it's something cool. Stuff like that The Walking Dead does, and it's very, very awesome. So this episode, man, the first 30 minutes, like the first half, it was like, I mean, it was more character development for the 5 characters, Daryl, Rosita, Denise, Abraham, and Eugene, which is always good to have, what's the word? Character development. It's always good to have it. I think we need a lot of it, because it makes us care about the characters when they die. So Denise, they've had a couple episodes of giving her development. I mean, we had episode 2, which she was trying to save Holly and she failed. And then we had more episodes with her. She got a relationship with Tara, and then she, the wolf, she was trying to help out the wolf's injury and then ended up being taken by the wolf, and Carol ended up saving her from the wolf, even though she was planning on saving the wolf either way. Then we had some other stuff with her, like, saving Carl's life, which was one of the biggest things she's ever done, and that's why it's going to affect the group the most, because they really like Denise. Denise is the doctor. I mean, come on, the only doctor in Alexandria. Of course, they do have the hilltop now, but, of course, the reason why this is a good death and why I think they did the death is because it's going to give Maggie more of a motivation to go to the hilltop, because they have doctors there, and of course, she's pregnant, and what if something happens? They're going to have to rush her to the hilltop. And what if they don't get there in time? So she might want to stay at the hilltop just in case if she does have a baby, or just in case if she does go into labor. She doesn't have to hurry to the hilltop or anything like that. She can just be in the hilltop. Or maybe Dr. Carson could stay at Alexandria until Maggie has her baby. But with all the war going on, I don't even know if he would want to leave his own home. So I'm sure he would stay there. And a lot of people were confused about one thing in particular, which is Carol leaving at the end. Now, there's a reason for that. Carol left because she's been turning into Morgan lately. She's been taking his philosophy that all life is precious and that everyone has a chance at becoming a good person. Everyone has a chance to come back. And she's starting to realize that. And especially when what happened with the wolf. And she's starting to realize that. And now she doesn't want to kill. And she knows war is going to happen. She knows there's more saviors out there. And she knows Dwight killed one of them, they killed many of their people, and that there's gonna be war, and she does not want to be a part of it. She does not want to be a part of it, so she's just out. She's just leaving. I'm sure she's gonna come back soon, probably the finale or something like that. But what's gonna happen in these next 2 episodes, I think the groups are gonna be looking for her. Daryl's out there. I'm not sure what Daryl's doing, if he's out looking for Carol or if he's out looking for Dwight. He's probably doing a bit of both, because he's a good tracker. Daryl's a great tracker. And this episode, I think, is going to be Daryl and a couple other groups just looking out, trying to find Carol, and they're going to run into trouble. I think they will run into more saviors, and it'll eventually happen where they'll run into Negan in the season finale. That's going to be absolutely crazy. I think Morgan is especially also going to look for her maybe on a horse, because we did see that promotional image with Morgan on a horse. So I was thinking maybe this is where the horse is going to come into play. Morgan's going to go on the horse and try to look for Carol. And he was in kind of a city area, to be honest. So maybe they'll kind of come across some city area. I don't know. But I'm very, very interested for this man. Dwight, he looks awesome. I mean, a lot of people were pissed. They said it was underwhelming. The burn on half his face. I thought it looked fine. It looked realistic. It wasn't like the comics where it was all like black and red and stuff like that. It's like, I mean, yeah, but all he did was iron his face. It's gonna heal eventually. It's not like it's gonna stay there forever. And I'm sure since there was a big time skip, he probably was able to heal it for a decent amount of time. Yes, first minute, that shit's gonna be black and red and blue and all these different colors because you just burn half his face with a freaking iron. But it's gonna heal eventually, so at least they're making it realistic. I'm into realistic scar. I like how it outlines around his eyes just like it did in the comics as well. And I like this slow back and forth between him and Daryl. I think it's very interesting. Now, some other news is Daryl is gonna be on the season finale, Talking Dead, and they already confirmed it. So, in my opinion, I think that means Daryl's safe, because they would not come out and say Daryl is going to be on Talking Dead if he was going to die. They would say special guest. So a lot of people are freaking out about that. I still think it's going to be Glenn to die, maybe Carol, but I don't think anybody else other than Glenn and Carol at this moment. Maybe Daryl. I have a small chance at Daryl, but I really don't think they will do that to Daryl, just because. Not because everyone loves him, because, I mean, AMC doesn't care. They will kill him off. But I do think Daryl has some more story left in him. I know he's been such, a big part of the series. He's definitely the second main character behind Rick. And he's just had so much screen time because, people love him and stuff. But he's going to die soon. I know he will, but I think we have to see him in All Out War first to actually be able to get more story from him. Because I think Glenn needs to die in order to further Maggie's storyline, because it's how it did in the comics. I would like it to go down that way. It makes sense to be an innocent person. It might be Daryl, maybe Carol, but I still don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm pumped for these next 2 episodes. Some other things about this episode: I loved the Abraham and Eugene back and forth. Eugene bit the guy's dick off, or Dwight's dick. That he didn't bite it off, but he bit it. I thought that was hilarious, just like what happened in the comics. I loved Rosita in this episode. Of course, I love Daryl and Denise in this episode. They're like the 5 main characters in this episode. We had a little bit of Morgan in the beginning, making that cell, which I thought is very interesting, kind of foreshadowing to the events of Negan and, them locking Negan in the prison after All Out War. And yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in my next one. Peace out.